Hey folks, thanks for joining. In this video, Jen and I are finally getting to our garden. It is not a big garden by any stretch of the imagination, but it's ours. And you know, part of this whole journey of ours coming out to Maine was to become self-sufficient. And I know a lot of what we've been doing is building and projects and getting our cabins together and just trying to get infrastructure. And honestly, this summer is going to be more of that, but we wanted to get started on the garden, even if for no other reason, to get some fresh veggies in our tummies, you know, come summertime. So why don't you folks grab a cup of coffee and come with us? We're gonna go do some gardening. We have to head to town this morning and pick up some materials for our garden. We've got some loam that we had delivered last year, but we need to get ourselves some compost and humus and whatever other stuff we can find to make our garden beds. So now that we have a bunch of goodies for our garden, it is time to get back to the homestead and start working on our garden beds. Since we haven't been able to work on the garden yet, because we've got so many other projects that need to be done for infrastructure, this year we're doing a small miniature garden, and instead of using raised beds, we're going to be using our bins. So we do have a lot of extra bins laying around, and so we're going to turn those into our garden beds for this year. Now Jen is at home right now and she is working on getting our seeds started. She'll be using milk cartons to get our seeds started this year. We're going to give that a shot, and we'll see how that goes. Now as we get further along in the season, we will be making some other garden beds, but we've got some cold hardy stuff that we can get into the ground here soon, so we're going to get things ready to go. Cannot wait. Mud season has not gone away. It is still here, and it is ugly.
am going to try something I have never done before. We're going to try to do some winter sowing to get our plants started, because we do have a very short growing season. So I want to get them started before the ground defrosts. So we're going to try this out and see how it goes.
So while Jen continues to set up the milk cartons in the house for our seedlings, I'm actually going to start working on the bins themselves. Now behind me is a pile of loam that we received last summer in preparation for our garden season. And like much of this first year being all trial and error, our garden season is no different. You know, this year we are going to start with bins. These are bins that we had left over from our move here. So we're going to get these all cleaned out. I'm going to get some holes in them. We're going to start building our garden bed. So the first step here is to put some drainage holes in here. We're not going to go through the bottom, but I am going to put them about 2 inches from the bottom up on each of the sides. While I put the holes in the bins, why don't you go check out and see what Jen's doing?
Now that I've marked all my jugs, I am going to drill holes in the bottoms and on the sides. 4 to 6 holes on the bottom and 1 to 2 holes on the sides. I don't know how it's going to do, but that's what we're going to do. And apparently Sue is going to help drill. They're all drilled. Time to start cutting them open. Well, that's it for these. Now, time to start planting.
So the first layer that we're going to use are these small little logs. Now we've done some research, and it looks like adding these logs to the bottom of these raised beds is going to help with a few things. Number one, they're going to over time they are going to break down, so that's good. But more importantly, they're going to help maintain some of the moisture inside of our garden beds. Now, We've never used this before. The gardens I've used or I've had in the past have all been in the ground. I've never made a raised garden bed before. There is so much information online that, to be frankly honest, it gets confusing. There's so much information. You know, what works for one person may not work for another person. This year, with our trial and error year, we're going to try and go with these things. We're going to fill the bottom of the bins and then continue to lasagna layer it up. And, you know, we'll see what happens. Like I said, though, I have no experience with this. We're going to give this a shot, and hopefully it turns out and works for us. So let's go ahead and fill up our wagon. I didn't get enough logs, so I gotta get enough. I got one more bin. Just one more. So we are over by the grill now. We are hungry. It has been a very long day so far. We're gonna have some hot dogs for lunch. Then we're going to get back started on the finishing up our project for the day. This is a big deal for us. You know, this moment of getting our garden ready and this is really our first big day of spending on our garden. This is huge for us. One of the whole purposes of coming out to Maine and, you know, leaving the life that we had in the city behind was to become more self-sufficient. This act, this whole endeavor that we're going on today and that we're doing today is part of us getting closer to that. Yes, we have a ton of projects to do. We have a lot of infrastructure to build and to finish. But you know, us getting this garden stuff prepped and ready for this year's garden, albeit not our final garden setup, is really a big deal for us, and you know, we couldn't be more excited. But it's tiring. It's grueling. We've got to set everything up, and you know, and as tiring and as grueling as it is, it's also fun. We're just so happy and grateful that we have the opportunity to do this. So that said, I'm gonna finish making some hot dogs. We'll eat some lunch. We'll see you back out there in a minute. So now that we have our logs in our bins, the next step here is to add some of our compost. Now some of the compost is still frozen, but that's okay. We're gonna grab what we can, fill up what we need, and if we still need some more, we'll come back in a few days after this has had a chance to thaw out. So the next layer that we're going to be adding to our bins is going to be this loam. We're going to add probably about 4 or 5 inches of this by itself, and then we'll start introducing peat moss and some of the other additives that we have for it. This loam we got last summer, and it's been sitting out here in our yard, and I've been dying to get to use it. So now that I get to use it, it's pretty exciting. It is great for vegetable gardens. So let's go ahead and get to filling. So before we go any further, I think what I want to do, because I've noticed these bins are getting really heavy now, is I'm going to go ahead and organize these and put these into the where they're going to end up being permanently. And I think what I'll do is once I've done that, then I can just take the cart around and fill everything up. I don't want to have to be moving these things once they're completely filled, because they are pretty heavy. So the next step to this process is we are going to take some peat moss, sphagnum peat moss. We're going to mix it in with some of our loam, and from there then we'll also mix some of the chicken manure and also the earthworm castings. So now, like I said, this is the first time we've ever done anything like this. I have no idea if this is going to work. I don't see why it wouldn't work. Everything that we're doing so far, what we've read, I think it'll give us a productive year. But who knows? We'll have to see. Now that we got this first batch done up, let's go ahead and get it in our bins. I love the way that this stuff looks, how it feels, how it smells. This is going to be really good. I'm really excited about getting our veggies in the ground this year. Very, very excited. Hey folks, so we are all done. We have our bins ready for gardening. We will probably add a few more bins as we continue to go through all of our stuff and put stuff away and bins become available. We're pretty happy with it, you know. I mean, they're bins, I get it, you know, but it's a start. And this year, you know, I do plan on building our 4x8 foot beds, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, there'll be like 12 or 14 of them, something like that. And then we'll have the hoop house up this year. But just to get us started, you know, that's gonna work. So thank you for sticking around and watching this video. Jennifer and I so much appreciate all of your support. So if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you on the next video.